So, tell me about yourself. And suddenly, your brain freezes. Uh, well, I... Silence. Then the question comes again. So, tell me about yourself. You try one more time. Yeah, so I like working with... But the sentence goes nowhere. A few seconds later, the pressure gets worse. Inside your head, there's only one thought. What am I even supposed to say right now? You sent the resume. You waited. You checked your T-mail every single day. Finally, the call came. You got the interview. Now you're sitting across the table from the hiring manager. Everything seems to be going well. Then they smile and ask one simple question. Tell me about yourself. And that's exactly where most people lose the interview. They panic, they ramble, they start talking without direction, and halfway through the answer they think to themselves, "Great, I ruined it." Here's the truth. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Most hiring managers decide how they feel about you within the first few minutes, before they fully review your resume, before they ask technical questions, before they even know your full experience. They're silently asking themselves, can this person bring value to the company? So today, I want to show you exactly how to answer the question, tell me about yourself. Not from theory, not from generic career advice, but from the perspective of employers, hiring managers, and people who've interviewed thousands of candidates. Because after enough interviews, patterns become obvious. Some people instantly stand out. Others disappear within the first 2 minutes. By the end of this episode, you'll learn the exact structure of a strong answer, how to sound confident without sounding fake, and how to control the direction of the conversation. But before the formula, there are 2 important principles. Principle number 1. When interviewers ask, "Tell me about yourself," they are not asking for your life story. They don't care where you grew up. They don't care about your childhood. They don't care about your hobbies, your pets, or your weekend routine. But many people make this exact mistake. They start at the beginning of their lives. 10 minutes later, they still haven't explained why they're valuable. The real question behind "Tell me about yourself" is actually this. What do you bring to the table? What problems can you solve? Why should we hire you? So, from now on, whenever you hear, "Tell me about yourself," mentally translate it into, what value can you bring to this company? That one shift changes everything. Principle number 2. Be yourself, but be your best self. A lot of people say, "I just want to be authentic." Good. You should be authentic. You shouldn't sound robotic or fake. But authenticity does not mean saying everything that comes to your mind. An interview is like a first date. You're meeting each other for the first time. You don't unload your entire life story in the first 5 minutes. You present the strongest version of yourself. Every sentence should answer one silent question. What's in it for them? How does your experience benefit the company? How does your skill help the team? How do they win by hiring you? Now, let's look at an example. Imagine you're applying for a position as a content strategist. The interviewer asks, "So, tell me about yourself." Most people answer like this. "Well, I've always enjoyed social media. I spend a lot of time online. I started experimenting with content a few years ago. I've done some freelance work here and there, and honestly, I'm just looking for a more stable job now. I also heard your office has a really nice work environment, and it's close to where I live. Do you see the problem? The entire answer is about them, their needs, their comfort, their situation. But the hiring manager only cares about one thing. How can this person help my business? So instead of rambling, you need structure. And here's the structure. The 3S formula. Simple, powerful, easy to remember. First S, success. Start with your success. Use phrases like, my background is, or I've spent the last few years. For example, I've spent the last 4 years helping online brands improve customer engagement through digital campaigns. During that time, I've worked with businesses in different industries and helped several companies significantly increase customer retention and conversion rates. That's the part of marketing I've become most passionate about. Notice what's happening. You're not bragging. You're demonstrating value. You're showing what you're good at. Second S, strength. Now talk about your strength. Use a phrase like, one of my biggest strengths is. For example, one of my biggest strengths is understanding audience behavior. I'm very focused on creating content and campaigns that people actually connect with emotionally, instead of just scrolling past. This part matters because now they understand how you think, not just what you've done. Third S, situation. Now connect everything to the opportunity. Use a phrase like, what I'm looking for now is. For example, what I'm looking for now is an opportunity where I can bring real value to a strong team, contribute to measurable growth, and continue developing my skills in a company that's serious about results. Would you say that that's the kind of person you're looking for? That final question is powerful because the person asking questions controls the conversation. A lot of people think interviews are only about answering questions. They forget that interviews are also about influence. You are selling your value. And maybe now you're wondering, should I memorize this? Absolutely. You should never walk into an interview unprepared. Write your answer down. Practice it. Say it out loud. Record yourself. Listen back. Improve it. Repeat it until it sounds natural. Because the last thing you want is to sit in front of an interviewer, panic, and forget what to say. So next time someone asks, tell me about yourself, remember this. Don't tell your life story. Show your value. Success, strength, situation. Those 3 things alone can completely change the direction of your interview.